following program was provided by an independent producer solely responsible for its content. The opinions expressed do not necessarily represent the views of this station, its staff, board of directors, or underwriters.
That it was going to be much smaller. So normally I have everything filled up. We have stock out back. We'll carry anything that is eligible for SNAP benefits, so that when somebody comes here, they can't say, you can't have this.
Right,
It's all eligible. And then we also have, we do the Granite State Market Match. I don't know if you're familiar with that. So all the fruits and vegetables basically will get 50% off those things. We got a really good POS system. Was basically a system put on an iPad called Farmers Register, which you should check into. They're really completely made for farmers markets. And they figure everything out for you. Like they'll do the math for Granite State Market Match, for SNAP and all this. And they do have a good back end for reports. So it'll give us a lot of reports like who was here, when they were here, what they bought, how they used money to pay for their stuff. We have all different kinds of things in there, like we have food vouchers for some employees, we have tokens, which are SNAP tokens or debit tokens, which are things we don't give here, but we take it. So.
And what do you do for SNAP volume in a year?
I don't know, I'm on my first 9-week program here, so I won't really have all that information. I did not do a ton of SNAP. This stop was about 75% SNAP. I think it's mostly because we're in front of a community action program.
Yeah.
You know, so, but all of my stops are basically stops that are spaces that have a big population of people going to it anyway. New Market, I go to Lamprey Healthcare, so there are people that work there, plus the clients, plus the local community, which doesn't have a grocery store in New Market. It's just some small, convenience store. So they have to go to either Durham, Stratham, or Exeter. I go to Dover Senior Housing Units. There's 4 different stops there. I go to Rochester, a private school parking lot, which abuts some housing programs, but the housing programs are like down a hill and out of sight, so we thought, it'd be better to be in a program area that people could actually see us. And where we are parked, the people that live in that area are pretty low income, where Rochester stands. Yeah, no problem. And we didn't want to step on any farmers' toes. So our decision was to make this as local as possible compared to where we were for stops. So right now, most of the produce that I have comes from Mackenzie Farm, which is just up the street in Milton. So that, the farmer doesn't feel like I'm sucking the life out of their area. So I'm actually buying the fruits and vegetables from them to sell to customers. So to help them twofold, get them to, make more money, and get them to get some benefits from people who may not know they exist, so then they can get there later on. The eggs come from a 10-year-old girl who has 50 chickens here in town, and I've got eggs from her every week. So it's kind of a cool program. We were hoping to maybe get her through school or something. And also everything that's here is edible. The pumpkins are pie pumpkins. We carried some maple syrup, honey. We carried pickles and jam, bread, dried beans. Meat did pretty well. I had local pork, beef, chicken, sausage, and they went really well.
And are you done for the season with meat, or?
I have a little bit left. but I'm not going to buy any more because tomorrow's my last run for the year for my 9 weeks. Per our grant, we had to do a minimum of 8 weeks this year, and we didn't get our bus till the end of July, so we had to figure out how to put that in there. Next year we need to do 12 weeks.
And if you're curious
10
how much
weeks,
anything
and the
would
following
cost,
year we
you
have to
give
do
it to
12
me and I can tell you, and you're not
Because the
obligated to buy
growing
anything
season's
until you
pretty
know
small
how much
around
they're
here compared to a lot of other places.
What motivated you to get this started?
Well, Harvard Pilgrim Health had been kind of romancing us for a couple years, and we kept telling them that we weren't ready. We didn't have any staff. I mean, as an organization, we were all a volunteer organization. Our board was 10 people, whom I was on the board, and as this came along, we kept hearing more and more about it. We were thinking, oh, maybe it's something we want to do. And then we had to turn around and decided, since our winter farmers markets were such a big program, that we had to hire some people. We had basically only had a few part-time staff in the past. So we hired a director, we hired a part-time program director, and we applied for the grant. And then we got the grant, and then realized we can't do this without somebody to do it. So I thought, I might be interested in this. So I quit the board, applied for the job, and got the job. So my background is social work, and I also did farmers markets for 20 years as a vendor. So I had a good, experience with it. So it's been interesting. I mean, I don't know how to quantify it yet. When I thought I was going to be busy, I would be slow, and when I thought I was going to be slow, I was busy.
Yeah, it's so weird.
It's like the farmers market.
And you think, oh, it's a sunny day, there's going to be a lot of people out, and because it's a sunny day, they're at the beach. And then you think, oh, it's an awful overcast day, people are afraid of the weather, they're not going to come out. And next thing you know, it's one of the busier markets of the season.
Right.
There's no rhyme or reason. It's so strange.
This is apples. Awesome. So did you just come from bingo?
Yeah.
Nice. Did you win anything? No? All right. Well, at least you got home with some good, yummy apples. Awesome. Here you go. Awesome. How many do you want?
I got okay, these are two.
Yep.
So I got 5 left.
And you can take you can take however many of them.
How much?
Times 4, that'd be $2.40. You take all of them. All right.
But they would have to get
Is that 4? Let's see. All right, so we'll take your 2.
It's
Nice.
funding.
All right, so 2, and if you give me 40
It's
cents.
their bus, they're just leasing it to the public.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
And 20,
Yeah.
30,
But maybe
40. So you have 2 and some
just got a
change.
new community health manager. See if they're gonna buy it.
Okay.
Well,
I know, right? Yeah. Okay, so perfect. All right, so what we have here is 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 15, 60.
We did have something that said it couldn't be more than 20% of your table. So
Yeah, we
you
have a
couldn't be
percentage.
like, selling 7, jars of jam in there. This has been great in the sense of like we can put pickles in there and honey and beans and things like that. They're a little bit smaller. So we utilize yes. So I have this extra air conditioner there, plus the air conditioner in here. So I left it closed and I had everything on the inside and I had them come on. or the people that couldn't come on, I had a volunteer go out and ask them what they wanted. So it kind of kept it self-contained.
Keep your stuff from wilting too.
Yeah,
real quick.
yeah. So we do a lot of spraying when the thing is hot, or fill the bottom with water. And then basically when I'm not ending the program, this is all just overstock. I made it so that coolers would fit. I can fit 3 coolers under here. Those happen to all be empty right now. I normally, if it's sunny or raining, have the tent set up over where the table is, and I have weights. So that area in the back was cut off when the bus was first brought to us. So we had them cut it out because it made no sense to have an area that we couldn't access from the inside. So we had it cut out, and then refrigerators back there, and then we built shelves on the right side. It's kind of a little bit of a big stuff.
Reluctantly so, gotta
Yeah, sometimes it's so much easier for the farmers to let them work it out.
Yeah.
If they have to say, look, this is the deal. Because there's already so many part of, and they require 25 pounds of leg, or if you're at a market where you can connect your car to be 25 for 2, and then the other part can be connected to your vehicle. But I have seen people flying off with their tents before, and they're just like, flying weapons. They're dangerous.
Yeah.
So
And people will be like, "Oh, can we just tie them all together?"
no.
No.
That would be like
That'd be like
a flying. I don't even know what you.
Worst game of dominoes ever.
Yeah, right. I've seen some bad things happen, and they just get crumpled up. I know, as being a vendor for so long, the minute I see any kind of like rain warning or anything, it's like, go around and tell everybody that this is coming. Take your tents down, and or put them down, or take your plastic off. Do one of the things that's not going to put you into as a weapon. So yeah, it's crazy.
Do you have one spot right here, or do you drive around to different places?
So this is the spot here for an hour and a half. From here, I have 2 hours in between, which I will go to a farm and stock up. Fortunately, the farm is right in between the 2 spots, and then I have that other spot for an hour and a half. My routes are either 2, 3, or 5 stops a day. It kind of depends. I do 10 markets a week. My first 2 weeks, I wanted to die. Because, you're used to like setting up, having a market for 3 hours, picking up, going. Well, this was like setting up, closing, setting up, closing, setting up, closing. I was like, oh my God, I had one of those little step things on me. I think the first week I did something like 75,000 steps or something insane. But, yeah, it's been a really good program. I think there's still a lot to learn. 9 weeks doesn't give you enough sort of, data to tell you what's good or bad. It tells you some things you would do differently, but it's not really enough data to quantify, really. We'll have to quantify these things for Harvard Pilgrim Health in whichever way we can, but yeah.
Celeste, what kind of, who conducted like feasibility studies for prior to?
Well, a couple people on the board, plus we talked to, there's a group that gets together from all of the other mobile markets. There's a couple in Connecticut, a couple in Rhode Island, a couple in Maine, one in...
Okay.
So there's been a lot of studies, so we grabbed a lot of those.
Okay.
I am surprised, personally, of how little SNAP recipients have used this program. And I'm not sure why at this point. Yeah, I don't know what else to say about that.
Yeah.
I don't really know why. And
Because it's like 30% cheaper than the grocery store,
it's
and it's better
yeah,
stuff.
and they get a 50%, Grand State Market match. So I don't know. It's hard to know why, and it could be, we're not telling them enough, or
Are they
our
allowed-
partners are not telling us enough.
Are they allowed to send out flyers to SNAP participant households? Is that something that there's data on that it's allowed
You mean
to
us
happen?
as an organization?
You
We
as an
do
organization,
everything,
or-
yeah. We are. What we do is we do things like go to housing and put a flyer on every door,
Yeah,
kind of thing.
okay.
We partner with these kind of organizations where we know a big percentage or almost all of them are SNAP recipients. So the people here are now either applying for fuel assistance or food assistance. They come and pick up their commodities, things like that. So they have a flyer, and they're, ideally supposed to be giving them.
Sure.
So, we have a contract that we signed with all of our partner sites that say, this is what we're going to do. We're going to do all these things. We're going to leave the place as clean as it was when we leave. We're going to create a safe atmosphere for customers. And we're open to having our customers tell us what it is they might be looking for that we don't carry. On their end, they're supposed to have us have a safe area for us to come into, a consistent area that's blocked off.
Well, and as a consumer, strictly a consumer, I know that many of the people that I connect with, they're not looking for the cheapest. They actually are looking to support the farmers. And so, I'm sure that there's going to be some lower common denominators that are going to go for the cheapest price alone. But for the most part, I feel like Seacoast Eat Local has done a great job of fostering community within the community. So, as a consumer, I'm going to support my farmer, not look for a cheap price. Where in the grocery store, I might be looking for a cheap price. I don't shop the same way in the farmer's market. So, just from a consumer's perspective, I don't find that there's, the people that I connect with at least aren't looking just for a good deal. They're actually excited to have local produce and support the farmer.
Talk a little bit about your organizational structure.
Yeah, so, okay. So there's a board. There's a board director.
So this is a nonprofit.
It's a nonprofit.
Okay. And how long ago did you get the nonprofit status on that?
Oh,
7 or 8 years ago.
I was going to say the organization is going into its 12th year. I want to say the nonprofit, I was on the board.
So this is a segment off of that existing nonprofit, is that
Yes,
right?
yes. So
Sure,
we
off
have
of that.
4 programs. We have Winter Farmers Markets, we have the SNAP program, we have Seacoast Harvest, and now we have the mobile market. So those are all 4 programs part of Seacoast Eat Local.
Okay.
The organization started basically with 2 people who had an idea, kind of went around telling everybody about the idea. The board was then organized, and Winter Farmers Market was their first program.
Okay.
And very successful. It was absolutely like you build it, they will come, is what it was like. And I was a vendor, and it was overwhelming to have been doing, summer markets and winter markets where really nothing no, you're being ridiculous. Most people will go by the market guide, go in and check it out, see what the going rate is. And
Yeah,
they
that's
all
a
talk to
rule.
each other.
At our market, that's a
Yeah.
rule, and so I'll print the bulletin and I'll
Yeah.
review every couple of weeks and say,
Heard of before, and we were all like,
What are we gonna grow in the winter?
who's going to have stuff? And things like, there's a town hall available that will let us go there the second Sunday or second Saturday in February. Let's go. And there'd be 15 vendors, and it was like packed. And then it was like 30 vendors, and we're like, okay, we still have the same places, so can we each share a table? So it got like crazy and snowballed. And then
Then you went to the old Macintosh.
yeah, and we
College,
went to
which was
all
much
different
larger.
places. We had a town hall in Exeter. We had a church in Exeter. We had a town hall in Stratham. We had a school in Dover. It was all over the place. Wherever we could fit, we'd go. And then we got a little bit more organized, and then they said, hey, we want to do more of these, because it was really only 4 in the beginning. It was like the Saturday before Thanksgiving, the Saturday before Christmas, and then maybe 1 in February and 1 in March. And then we got to be 6, and then it got to be 8, and now we do 12.
And how are people finding out about it?
We were like gorillas. Like, it was crazy. We were just telling everybody. So there's 10 people on the board, and it was like, you have to tell 10 people, and it was like
And then
posters
people like me
and
that find out about it and do the same. I'm not on the board, but I can't even count the number of people that go to the farmers markets because of me.
Yeah.
basically, we tend to say that locals within 100 miles. That's what most people do. Satisfy a group of people who want these things in the wintertime, then we have to change how we're growing things.
Yeah, yeah.
People started buying, more hoop houses. People started heating their hoop houses with like wood stoves, started putting pipes in the ground to like with hot water to heat the water that would go through the soil to keep the soil warm to grow more things. I mean, it was just
And improving
unbelievable
their,
amount
their
of
root storage facilities as well. A lot of improved root storage facilities so that
You essentially created a market.
We did. We created a market that has now had very many other towns and cities who have tried to.
it's an 857 number.
Try to do the same thing. We've had a lot of people come to us and say, "How did you start this? We want to do the same thing." But there are a lot of Concord Winter Market is doing pretty well, I think. I don't know if there's a winter one in Manchester or Nashua.
I think Merrimack.
Oh, Merrimack.
I think it's safe to say too that Seacoast Eat Local has allowed for local restaurants to go full on with the local food throughout the year as well.
Right.
Where before there weren't restaurants that were really focused on local. Where now there are entire restaurants that are just doing local. Like very rarely do they have anything on the menu that's not right from the area. And there's a lot of those restaurants like Moxie and
I mean, there's
Trumpet,
a whole number of them that.
Yeah, we're trying to drive some of that too. It's our fall restaurant week. We just switched it over to the Eat Local Fall Food Festival, and so the idea is connecting the restaurants with the farmers market vendors, so we can kind of have some overlap in that those two programs. And Restaurant Week has become such a ubiquitous thing. So like to kind of have the restaurant promotion stand out because of that, we thought was a good idea too.
We did have something that said it couldn't be more than 20% of your table. So you couldn't be like, selling seven, jars of jam and then
because basically the prices listed are basically half price for you.
The amount of things that we sold at the farmers markets at those 12 dates were more than the 26 weeks of the summer market.
Oh, interesting.
I mean, it was a huge deal to be able to keep those two other employees on through the year and to be able to keep in touch with all those people who came in the summertime that could still come and get our product.
Right.
It was really life-changing for us as a business owner. To be able to make enough money to keep more employees on is a big deal. And I think that happened to a lot of employees and a lot of farmers too.
Perfect, and this is a pie pumpkin.
We have gotten
so you can eat it if you want, and I can tell you how much
just
it is.
under 3,000 people. I can't remember all the raw data, but I mean, it's available if you need it. It's just amazing.
3,000
I'm going to double check with her.
3,000 on Saturday,
She runs this,
and fortunately, I don't know what happened, but fortunately, in all of the time that we have been doing winter markets,
she's going to pay with EBT. All right. If you're paying with EBT or SNAP, then it's half price. If you're paying with cash, then it's regular price. Oh, all right. I can still tell you how much it's going to be, and then you decide if you want it. Hi, I'm Amy Willett, and I am from Barrington, New Hampshire, and this is the first opportunity I've had to volunteer on the mobile market, and I think that it's an awesome program. I'm excited that Seacoast Eat Local is able to bring the food to communities where it might be a little bit more of a challenge for them to get to the offerings that are already available. And I absolutely love Seacoast Eat Local in general for all of the thoughtfulness that they put into what does this community really need, and the fact that they will go out and actually ask that and figure that out. And I just think that's amazing. And I've been a long time customer of the Seacoast Eat Local markets, and I'm a big supporter and drag all my friends in. So I think this is just another level and layer of support for the community, for local food, as well as a local economy that I think is really important in New Hampshire.
Beautiful. And you said something earlier about people coming to support the market, not looking for the cheapest prices. Can you touch on that?
Sure. And so we were talking earlier about pricing and sort of price ranges and stuff. And I know for me personally, and the people that I connect with the most that go to the markets on a regular basis, we're not necessarily looking for the cheapest price. We actually are excited to be there to support the local economy and support the local farmer in making a year-round living at what they're doing, because if the farmers aren't able to sustain their own families and their own homes and lifestyles, then we're not going to have the farmers. And so I know my philosophy isn't so much what's the cheapest price and can I get this cheaper at the grocery store. I probably I think it's pretty comparable from what I've sort of checked already, but the reality is I'm not actually interested in whether or not it's the cheapest. I'm most interested in whether or not it's going to be a good quality food that's going to nourish my body and the body of my family, and then also, is this a sustainable economy that will allow us to have fresh, good, healthy produce for the long term, and not just a short term kind of cheap food sort of thing. And I feel like that's sort of the attitude in general of shoppers. Obviously, there's a wide range of people that shop the winter markets as well as the summer markets, but I do feel like there's an overall community aspect to it that allows for it not to just be about price.
Beautiful. And lastly,
Yes.
we are here from Nashua, New Hampshire, because we want to get something like this going.
Yeah.
And you guys motivate us. So can you send a message to our community saying why this is such an awesome thing to do?
Yeah, I think it's a really awesome thing to do. I used to live in southern New Hampshire, in Manchester specifically, which isn't Nashua, but there's, it's next door kind of. And I think that doing something like this, allowing a wide range of community members to have access to local food, is the key to having a healthier community. And so just healthier physically as well as emotionally, being able to connect with your food and where it's grown has a great impact on a wide range of aspects of your humanity. And I think it's awesome that you want to do this, and especially in something that's a little bit more of an urban area. I think that you have a lot of opportunities to reach out to communities that aren't necessarily having access to this, and it will probably be an education process as well, but I do think it's going to be worth the time in, and hopefully you'll see shifts in your community because of the efforts that you're putting in now to provide this next layer of support.
Nice. And please tell everybody in Nashua to come up and to buy
Yes,
this wonderful.
yes, go to your farmers markets wherever they are. Support your farmers, get to know them, and yeah, it's just really awesome when you can go and look face to face, eyeball to eyeball to the person who's been growing your food, and there's just a connection that's real. And I think that, like I said, I think that just makes you more human, to be more connected to where your food comes from.
And tell us to come here. Tell us come up.
Oh, yeah, come here to this market. Yes, definitely. Come check out these mobile markets wherever you are and support whatever it is. And if more people are interested in kind of seeing what is happening in the Seacoast, Seacoast Eat Local is really supportive of getting that information out. So we're super glad that you guys came here today to ask all these great questions and to get excited and energized to go back to Nashua and do something similar that works in your community. So
Beautiful.
Yeah, so basically what you have is anybody who's at the farmer's market, anybody who wanted to be a sponsor, there's a quick reference to the back, like what the farms sell, and then their practices are in here. Food pantries are in here, the date of certain markets are in here. And they
The preceding program was provided by an independent producer solely responsible for its content. The opinions expressed do not necessarily represent the views of this station, its staff, board of directors, or underwriters.